Then calcium, thromboplastin, and factors 5 and 7. In other words, what is 5? 5 is proaccelerant. What is 7? Serum prothrombin conversion accelerator. Serum prothrombin, it makes it go faster. Prothrombin to thrombin, it aids. All right, are mixed with the sample. And calcium, thromboplastin, and factors like 5 and 7 are added. Okay, who's thromboplastin? That's number 3, isn't it? Calcium, who's calcium? That's number 4, isn't it? Calcium is number 4, thromboplastin is number 3. Fibrinogen, prothrombin, thromboplastin are mixed, and they know 5 and 7 are mixed with the blood sample. And the PT time is the time it takes for blood to clot. The normal prothrombin time is about 12 seconds. Where they're really, and I've had some dealings with this with myself, where they're really concerned with this is if a person has had a little bit of AFib, usually for a reason or another. A little bit of AFib, atrial fibrillation, a little AFib. That's where they really get concerned with this. That's why that person has been advised to take a little Coumadin. And they don't want you to take too much Coumadin. You can't. If they do, the blood won't clot. If they don't take too little Coumadin, you might get some clotting in that atrium where you don't want a little blood clot to form, going on to the ventricle and so forth and ending up. What they really worry about in AFib is strokes. That's what they really worry about. A clot that forms in that atrium that's not doing, atrium should be doing this instead of that. When it does that, they say there's a chance for a clot to kind of form and stay, and eventually move. And so they'll do the PT time. PT time usually, if a person is on Coumadin, they like to do a PT time about every week. And it's annoying to have to go get that done too. It's just annoying. The PT time, and then they say, well, okay, well, all right. But anyway, the normal prothrombin time is about. Now, I wrote this down. This is some stuff I put in there. You see that the prothrombin time. You'll see that I have the term PT-INR, prothrombin, and they look at INR stands for international normalcy ratio. In other words, an international normalcy period for PT time. So this is what they'll say. This is what you might hear this sometimes. What the INR, the PT-INR? The nurse talk. Did they do an INR, a PT-INR? Go, well, that's prothrombin time dash international normalcy ratio, and so that's in about 12 seconds. And so that's what that all translates right there. That all translates right there into the prothrombin time. Okay? And so platelet count must be greater than 150,000 per milliliter for normal coagulation of blood. If your platelet count is too low, they will not do surgery. If the platelet count is too low, and they'll say, okay, we're going to give you some blood. We've got to do something to get your platelet count up. Maybe give you some blood. Maybe do something. We've got to do something to get your platelet count up. Because if the platelet count is too low, what happens? You know, the platelet plug formation doesn't work right. You know, that sort of thing. So the platelet count must be greater than 150,000 per ml for normal coagulation, that is blood clotting, to occur. Okay, so there's that. Now hemophilia, I just want to mention these. Now let me show you this on hemophilia. Now hemophilia, the more serious kinds of hemophilia are sex-linked. Now sex-linked means, in this case, X-linked, on the X chromosome. So a normal female is this. A normal male is this. All right, a carrier female is this. A male will not be a carrier for hemophilia. He either got it or he don't got it. Okay? All right, so if a male, if he's this, he's hemophilia. He's a hemophiliac. So the females, you've heard of the black widows? The black females are the carriers. They're the mean ones. The females are also the carriers in color blindness. Color blindness is also sex-linked. Don't you hear of more colorblind males than females? Sure, absolutely. I knew there was one woman that worked for me one time when in the grocery. Her name was Debbie. And Debbie, there were three children in the family, 3 or 4. There were 4. There were 2 girls and 2 boys. All right. Debbie was colorblind. James was colorblind. And she had a sister, a sister, and I can't remember her name. She was normal with respect to vision. And the other brother was normal with respect to vision. But Debbie and one brother were colorblind. I got real interested in that. I carried the colorblind chart up there one time. And tested them. Got real interested in that. Here's the way that happened. Now the mama wasn't colorblind. The daddy was. And so the daddy was, if we have for colorblind, say we let the colorblind be like that. The daddy was this, and the mama was this. She was a carrier. So in this situation, this was almost like textbook. There's the daddy, here's the mama, right here. And so, wait, I'm sorry. All right, this was Debbie. That was Debbie right there. This was James right here. This was James. This was Mary. As I think about it, I remember her name was Mary. The other girl was Mary. But here was Mary. And here was whatever his name was. I can't think of him. But here was the other guy. So of the four kids, y'all, of the four kids in that family, one girl was, I've never seen that before. One girl was colorblind. Debbie was colorblind. Mary was not. James was colorblind, and the other guy, whatever, he wasn't colorblind. So that sex link and hemophilia works the same way. Of course, if you had, between the two, between colorblindness and hemophilia, obviously, you'd rather, if you had, it's like if you had to have basal cell carcinoma or melanoma, you would rather, if you had to have one, you'd rather have basal cell carcinoma, not melanoma. All right, if you had to have colorblindness or hemophilia, obviously you'd rather have colorblindness, you can get by with that. You could deal with that one, okay? Is anybody in here colorblind? Any guys? I know little girls are. All right, okay. All right, so anyway, there's hemophilia, and you kind of see the deal. Hemophilia A is the lack of factor VIII. That is the more serious one. Hemophilia A, the lack of factor VIII. Hemophilia B, the lack of factor IX. Okay, that's okay. And then I have hemophilia C, the lack of factor 11. What is number 11? Number 12 is the Hagen factor. What is number 11? It's one of those thromboplastins. I promise you, it's one of the thromboplastins. Does it say tissue plasma thromboplastin? Okay, plasma thromboplastin. Number 11 is one of the thromboplastins. All right, now notice this right here. Notice this right here. A and B are sex-linked. And be sure you remember that, they're on the X chromosome. They're sex-linked, X-linked. There are a few, now let me just tell you all this while we're talking about a little genetic study. There are a few traits carried on the Y chromosomes that they're called Holandric, Holandric, Holandric genes on the Y chromosome. And we talk about them a little bit in genetics. There was a situation in England many years ago where a boy baby was born with the roughest, coarsest skin. It was horrible. It was almost like a lizard skin. And and he passed that on. He grew up but no girls ever had that. XX never had it. And genetic studies started, and they found out that trait was associated with the Y chromosome only. That's called a Holandric gene, Holandric, only on the Y chromosome. No females had that. If they did, they probably would have committed suicide.